and welcome everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the upcoming solstice that we have taking place on Friday, June 20th, 2025. We're going to take a look at what this solstice could bring in on a sort of global scale, universally, and then we're going to break it down for each life path number to see what energies we could be working with over the course of the next 13 weeks as we move through the energies of this solstice. Before we get into the forecast, just a reminder, this is a general reading. If you would like your own personal numerology reading where we take a look at your own personal numerology that shows up in your chart, please book some time with me. My information's in the description box below. I would love to work with you. Okay, so the solstice that we have happening on June 20th is the summer solstice in the Northern Hemisphere, which is the longest day of the year. In the Southern Hemisphere, it's the winter solstice, and it's the shortest day of the year. And this solstice will last for approximately 13 weeks as we move into the equinox. But during this 13 weeks, this solstice is highlighting the energy of the 17-8 collectively. So the universal energy we'll be working with is the 17-8. And this is a beautiful energy. So I'm really liking what it's sort of bringing up for the next 13 weeks or so collectively. This can bring in good fortune. It can bring in rewards. It can bring in some kind of greater assistance. This is a really fortunate vibration. And so this is kind of like the star energy in tarot, where this is a time for wishes to come true, goals to be reached, seeing justice served in a lot of areas where maybe there's been a lot of injustice. So you could see sort of a turning of the wheel to some degree, where things are now moving towards a higher octave to some degree. This is a time where answers can be found depending on where we're looking. If we're looking in the right place, then we will find the answers to what we're looking for. If we're asking the right questions. So this is a time to be curious, to explore, to go after some of those bigger dreams that you might have been dreaming. And don't be afraid to ask the questions, because you might not have all the answers just yet, but over the course of the next 13 weeks, you could absolutely see that come in to some degree. And I would say this is an energy that is a partnership between us and the universe. And so in other words, we can control what we can control, but what we can't control, we need to surrender to and let the universe do its job, right? Let it do its work. And so I would say, ask yourself the question and then seek the answer with open-mindedness, curiosity, and surrender. Don't try to force it. Right? Because you might not even know what you're looking for. And it will be presented to you over the course of the next 13 weeks, but it might present in a way you weren't expecting, and it might be subtle. Not everything comes in loud, right? Sometimes it comes in as a whisper. We're not going to miss it, but if we're looking for something big and bold and loud, then we might miss it. Or it's going to have to continue to come in until we catch on. But there's a softness to this energy, even though it's ultimately 8 energy, which is usually a little bit more pronounced and a little bit more assertive. There is a sort of receptivity to this because we have the energy of the 7 in the equation as well. So there's definitely something here about taking the initiative, asserting ourselves where we feel called to do so, but also having that receptivity, allowing things to come to us. So we put in the effort and then we sit back and we see what presents. We put in the effort, we sit back and we see what presents. And so there's kind of this kind of theme over the course of the next 13 weeks collectively, where we're being asked to do exactly that. Ask the questions, get the answers, take action, and then ask the questions, get the answers, take action. And recognizing where it is that we need to go and where it is that we need to pause, where it is that we need to kind of push forward and where it is that we need to surrender and see what presents. And so it's finding that balance that will really serve us well over the course of the next 13 weeks. This is definitely a time for greater revelations where big aha moments, greater self-discovery can come through in very powerful segments, right? So pay attention to what comes in for you over the course of the next 13 weeks. Pay attention to what's going on globally over the course of the next 13 weeks. Because there is this sort of very like divinely protected type of energy associated with the 17-8 that is kind of like our souls kicking in, pushing us forward. And we're not meant to override that wisdom, that inner knowing with the ego, right? We're not meant to force things. We're not meant to like push our agenda. We're not meant to manipulate, coerce, or try to control the situation or another person. There's definitely this beautiful, harmonious aspect that is really opening up the channels to connect with our higher selves and then to move from that space and recognizing when to push forward and when to fall back, when to take action and when to surrender. And if we can listen to sort of, again, that inner knowing, that intuition, if we can follow that guidance, then we will, I think, be really pleased with the outcome after the 13 weeks, once we set into the equinox. This energy also has the power to reveal secrets to us that have been hidden, that have been sort of veiled in some way. There is a very strong likelihood that secrets will come to the surface now. And now, again, I'm speaking on a global stage. So it will be interesting to see what comes to light over the course of the next 13 weeks. And from whatever is being discovered with this energy, we will know the next steps. We will know the next course of action. We will see the next chapter open up and begin to unfold. So it can be a very powerful period. But ultimately, at the heart of this energy is the promise of a brighter day, hope renewed, having the wind back in our sails, feeling optimistic, feeling unified in some way. It's a very uplifting, very powerful, very supportive, very divine type of energy. So I will be curious to see how things play out over the course of the next 13 weeks. All right, let's take a quick look at each life path number to see what this solstice could potentially have in store for you. Life path number 1, so you're going to be working with the vibration of the 9 for this solstice, and so for the next 13 weeks. And so this is an energy of selflessness and compassion and applying your energy, your services to a purpose bigger than self. And so, this would be such a beautiful time to volunteer, to find a charity that you can contribute towards, to finding, again, your place in the world, contributing towards something bigger than just yourself and what you have to gain from that. This could also bring in some kind of greater wisdom so that you could be tying up some kind of experience or challenge that you've been moving through that's been difficult, that unlocks a tremendous amount of wisdom for you, that you know the next steps forward and that can help you in creating whatever it is that you're putting your mind towards creating moving forward. It's definitely a closing out kind of cycle. So there could definitely be points of completion, things again ending, tying up loose ends, finishing up projects, closing the book and starting the next book, right? It's that kind of completion where something is finalized and something is released and you're ready to turn the page, or again, just get a whole entirely new book and start and begin fresh. But it's definitely going to push you towards giving back to the collective in some way, giving back to the universe, giving back energetically through your gifts, through whatever way, whatever means you find. But it's definitely a vibration of not focusing so much on you and your goals and your personal achievements, but how you can, what you can do with that to help others in some way. And this is also going to be a time where you likely will be asked to find love, compassion, patience, forgiveness for yourself and for others. So if there's things that need healing, this would be the time to do that work. Also a beautiful time for like getting therapy or, working on your mental health as well, and working through anything that is keeping you from stepping into a greater place of forgiveness and compassion and all of those things, and releasing the baggage that you don't need to carry anymore. Life path number 2, you all are going to be working with a very powerful vibration of the 10-1. And so this is the beginning of a new cycle for you. This is a new start. This is definitely about personal effort, showing up, being assertive, taking a stance, going after what it is that you want, being decisive as well, to decide what it is that you want, having that plan, but then also taking action. This is a very ambitious type of energy. It's not about staying idle. It's about, again, putting in that personal effort, showing up, taking the steps needed to reach the goal, whatever the goal may be for you. And that will likely unfold over the course of the next 13 weeks. Because you have the vibration of the 0 in the equation, right? The 10-1. There's a clean slate here that's giving you a new opportunity at something, a new lease on something. For some, it might be relationships. For some, it might be career, a new belief system, a new approach at life, a new health regimen, you name it. But there's a clean slate here that has your name on it that's saying, here's all the colors, here's all the tools that you need. What are you going to create with it? So you need to decide what it is that you want, what it is that you want to create, and what decisions and actions will help to get you there, and then take the steps in that direction. Having a strategy and having a plan will serve you well. Try not to be too impulsive during this time, but be calculated. Take risks. This is definitely a risk-taking type of energy, and it's going to push you to be decisive and then take the risk to take the action. See it through to completion, and I think you'll be really happy with the results. Recognize where your limitations lie, but don't let those limitations sort of keep you or hold you back from moving towards whatever this is. Pick up the reins, take charge, and go after it. Recognize your limitations and figure out how to manage those limitations, how to work with them, or how to overcome them, or how to call in the resources that can help you, give you the support that you need in order to achieve whatever this is. Nothing in this scenario, though, happens without you within your own personal experience. So you've got to take charge. This is a leadership type of energy, and it's asking you to step up and lead. Life path number 3, you all are going to be working with the vibration of the 11-2, and this is a master number. So this can bring in some significant challenges, but also some significant rewards. This will likely be a time where you're going to have to make decisions rather quickly. You'll have to really just, it comes in, see it for what it is, either say yes or say no. But if you say yes, it's about going for it, taking action, taking the leap of faith. Because experiences now that come in over the course of the next 13 weeks could feel really exciting, could feel like, you want to just say yes to everything that's coming in. And I would say be discerning about where you invest your energy and your time, and not to be too impulsive, but don't lollygag either, right? Don't sort of, if an opportunity presents to you and you feel passionate about it, you feel excited about it, don't go down the rabbit hole. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't be overly impulsive where you don't do your due diligence to sort of investigate it and feel into it. But don't go down the rabbit hole of okay, I've got to weigh the pros and cons. I've got to make my list. I've got to, spend, weeks and weeks dissecting this and thinking about it and overthinking about it. And then it gets to the point where it's so convoluted that you don't even remember what it was that you were trying to figure out what you wanted to say yes or no to. So the energy here is, it's going to require quick decisions, not impulsive decisions, but quick decisions to where you're not, again, sort of letting your mind take over and getting the best of you. So because it would be really easy with some of these things, because it's 11-2 energy and it is that master level energy, it would be easy for things to come in for you and you not feel worthy or feel, imposter syndrome or whatever. and talk yourself out of it, right? If you wait too long to make the decision. So there is like this need to take the risk, need to take the leap of faith, but definitely take the time to feel into it. And don't be too quick to dismiss things that, might look different than what you were expecting them to look like, or that the packaging looks a little bit different, because the gift inside is going to be just as spectacular as what you were hoping for, probably even more so. I would also say that this period of time is going to require some patience to navigate through some of the starts and stops that you will likely move through. It could be that kind of energy where it's like something big comes in and then there's a pause. Something big comes in and then there's a pause. And it doesn't have to be something big, but an opportunity comes in and then there's a pause. And that can feel a little bit frustrating, but there's a reason for it. So ride the wave and see where it takes you. Try not to get too frustrated with the starting and the stopping. Just because there's a pause does not mean it's not for you. It just means it's not ready yet. It's still cooking. So let it finish cooking, and then you'll enjoy whatever it is, as opposed to trying to rush it or say no to it because out of frustration. So patience is going to be key for you during this time. Any legal dealings that you have going on could be solved at this time. You could see some money come your way. Also, inheritance also can come in here for some. Settlements are definitely possible. Agreements, partnerships can definitely come about now, especially business partnerships, creative partnerships, something along those lines that can be really lucrative and be really, just bring in a lot of potential. For sure, especially when it comes to like your artistic, creative self-expression. That's very much heightened at this time, and you could find that there's certain things that actually get in the spotlight at this time, and you get significant recognition for it. A lot of times when I see 11-2 come through in a cycle, especially a long cycle like 13 weeks, it can kind of catapult you into the spotlight in some way, or get some kind of recognition that is either expected or not expected. And this is also a time to kind of surround yourself with different cultures, with opening your mind, expanding your mind, that sort of thing. So it can bring in a tremendous amount of growth as well. Pay attention to your dreams and your visions and your revelations under this cycle, because you will likely be called to do something with them down the road. Life path number 4. So we're going to be working with the vibration of the 12-3 for this illumination. And this is a time where things can feel almost as if they're taking care of themselves, almost as if by magic, where it doesn't require as much effort, where it's like we've kind of already done the work. So now things are just kind of falling into place to some degree. And so I would say move with that energy, go with the flow, let the cycle work for you. This is a time to observe, to reflect, and then to take action once you've given yourself ample time for that observation and reflection. And this cycle can bring in some much needed serenity, possibly some downtime as well. This is a time where I would say it's interesting, because a lot of times when we're working with 3 energy, it's such a big energy that it's really like pushes us to be creative and step in the spotlight, and it can bring in accolades and recognition and all those things. And I'm not saying that's not possible under this energy, but because the 12 is here, there's definitely this element of stopping, looking, and listening, and not trying to force or push things too much. This is more of like a quiet pause where the sort of the biggest answers, the most powerful answers will come through the stillness, the silence. It's not coming through the forcing. So this is not a time to like tighten your grip and try to control even more. This is a time to release, surrender, pause, observe, see what comes to you. Make your decisions based on what presents, right? This is not a time to force or to try to, again, force things to happen. Big things can happen under this vibration, but they will present to you. And so you've got to let them present and then decide how you want to work with them. You could see a lot of polarities take place at this time, even a lot of extremes, and you're going to have to continue to find your way back to your center to make sure that you are coming back to your heart center, following your intuition, Follow your inner guidance and trust yourself, because that's going to be your greatest North Star. It's going to give you the greatest clarity when it comes to making the decisions on what presents to you during this cycle. Embrace, let's put it this way, release what you cannot change and embrace what you can during this period. There's going to be areas where you do need to put in a lot of effort potentially during this cycle, but they're going to flow. It's not going to feel like a lot of work and it's not going to feel like, typical 4 energy that just takes a lot of work. It'll flow. And so that's where you should put your energy. That's going to bring the least amount of frustration. But things that you feel like you have to force, it's not for you right now. It's still cooking. Let it cook. Don't try to force it. And then you'll get the most out of this cycle. Life path number 5, you are going to be working with the vibration of the 13-4 for this cycle. And this is an interesting energy because, obviously you have the 4. The 4 can be a challenging cycle for 5s to move through because it really does require you to slow down, to get focused, to get serious. Things can feel like it takes a lot more effort to see results. And for a 5, that can be really frustrating at times. But this is an energy that's saying commit, get a plan, get focused, get serious, dedicate yourself to whatever this is, and see it through to completion. What is your strategy? What decisions and choices do you need to make in order to continue to move you towards the goal? How are you going to what are you going to do if it gets so frustrating that you feel like you have to give up, but you still want it and you can still see the path forward? This type of energy is going to push you through that resistance. It's going to ask you to continue to persevere and continue to move towards your goal, your dreams, whatever that may be. And so that's going to be crucial for you all, especially as 5s, because 5s, again, such big energy, a lot of things can be coming in and it's easy to pick things up and then get frustrated, put it down, and then on to the next thing with such big energy that is a 5. And so when the 4 comes through, it says, no, you have to do it step by step. You have to have patience. You have to continue to persevere. So you could see a lot of that over the course of the next 13 weeks. But I would say definitely if you're doing something and there's a tremendous amount of frustration, try to shift your focus onto what is working, not what is not working, right? What's not working is what's giving you the frustration. And within whatever this is, whether it's a relationship, your career, a mindset, a goal that you're trying to achieve, there's going to be always things that aren't working, so that will create frustration. But there's always going to also be, because we live in a world of polarities, we live in a universe of polarities, there's always going to be things that are working. They might seem small, they might seem insignificant, but they're not. If they're working, if there's flow, put your energy there, because then you're going to get momentum. You're going to see things start to move, and then you will likely find the answer to the thing that was frustrating you, and then you'll likely see movement there as well. So a keynote of this cycle is don't get stopped up in what is frustrating you. The solution is probably going to be found when you're in your flow. And you can only be in your flow if you're focused on what is working, not overly focused on what is not working. The solutions to what is not working will come, and then you can fix that, and then that will start to flow. So don't get stuck in the frustration, because that is the Achilles heel of the 4 cycle. Frustration will stop you up and keep you stuck, and it will make you want to give up. So your mantra for the next 13 weeks is focus my energy on what is working, what's flowing, put my energy there, go with the flow, put in the effort. And then when the solution arises for what was frustrating you, then apply the solution. And then you'll likely see the flow there as well. Life path number 6, you are going to be working with the vibration of the 14-5. And so the 14-5 is a karmic energy. And so anytime we move through a cycle that's karmic, it can require a lot more effort than the typical cycles. And so you could just see that it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be hard or challenging or all those things. It just means it might require a little bit more effort or a lot more effort. This could be a time where, like, for instance, you fall pregnant, right? You get pregnant. And so, it's going to take at least or up to 9 months, right? So it's going to require some effort. That's very possible under this illumination. So for those of you who are looking to have children or adopt or something along those lines, family comes into the forefront under this vibration, as well as pregnancy, that sort of thing, adoptions, contracts, that sort of thing. But whatever it is, whether it's actually giving birth to, a child, or if it's birthing something else, like a creative project or something like that, this is a time where you could see that, especially over the course of the next 13 weeks, where you could definitely see that come to fruition, or be initiated if it's something like a pregnancy. But if it's a creative project or something like that, you could see things come to fruition at this time, so that you are birthing that creative project, so to speak. You could see that a few experiences require you to slow down and to really think about your next steps and sort of how you want to commit, how you want to invest your energy, the decisions and the choices that you need to make, and what that looks like. And again, there will likely be a requirement of additional effort to get to the success point, because again, it is 14-5 energy. This would, not to stay on the theme of pregnancy and that sort of thing, but it actually brings into mind, like if you're someone who's been kind of moving through IVF or something like that, then this could be a time where you see positive results from that. That is like 14-5 energy to some degree here. So that's possible. Your creativity could be just flowing at this time, for sure. This is a time where you might have a lot of ideas, a lot of inspirations, and you might have to make some decisions about how you want to implement those ideas, how you want to share that creativity or that business plan or whatever it may be. Just know that whatever you sort of initiate or whatever you commit to under this energy will require significant effort for the next 13 weeks. You might also find that there's a significant amount of competition that comes your way, or opposition to some of your choices. And you're going to have to find ways to, face it head on, move through it, find your way through it. And you could see also with this cycle, it bring in additional money, additional business dealings that can be profitable, some degree of success, things again coming to fruition in a powerful way because you've put in the effort towards whatever this is. So that can feel really good as well. But social and family obligations could definitely be sort of at the forefront, and so it might require a lot of your attention and a lot of your effort. So, use careful consideration when it comes to making your decisions at this time in how it is that you want to expend your energy and what you want to commit to, because you will have to be in it for the long haul. Life Path 7, you are going to be working with the vibration of the 15-6 for this cycle. And so this is a cycle where I would say you will likely be asked to surrender quite a bit, surrender to the present moment, to really come back to what you are moving through in this moment. And so what I mean by that is I think that you'll have plenty of opportunities over the course of the next 13 weeks to come back to the present moment, to not be overly burdened by the future and the thoughts about the future, overanalyzing the future, to not be too swept up in the past, but to come back to the present moment. And that present moment is where you will find your freedom. Because in that present moment, you will know what you are working with and you can manage and handle whatever that is. So this is going to be, I think, a practice over the next 13 weeks for you to continuously come back to the now. And this is a really good practice for the 7, because the 7 is can be overly analytical and go down those rabbit holes quite a bit and get caught up and swept up into the future and worrying about the future and overanalyzing the future, or getting stuck in the past. And so this is a great opportunity for 7s to really practice again, flex that muscle of coming back to the present moment, because I think that's I think you're going to find that that's where you have the greatest freedom, is in the present moment. And that's where you can accomplish the most, because as they say, life is happening in the present moment. So this is an opportunity to come back there. Also, this is a beautiful time to, let's put it this way, not take life so seriously, to laugh more, to let your hair down, to try new things, to go out on a limb and, not be so concerned about what other people think or whether or not you're going to succeed or whatever. It's more about the joy of doing it, finding what you enjoy doing or just trying something new and going for it and not being so overly concerned about, again, what other people are going to think or how you're going to look or what the outcome is going to be. It really is so much about finding what you love and what you enjoy and doing more of that over the next 13 weeks. This can be a really powerful, transformative period as well, because you do have that vibration of the 5. So change is probably imminent here. But this is a time where opportunities could come in at this time that can really open you up to some kind of radical change within your lifestyle that can release you from those limitations of the past or worrying about the future. And it allows you that freedom of expression in the present moment. And so your experiences could be quite profound over the next 13 weeks. You could find that long-held views or belief systems change. Newly found beliefs can set your mind at ease and get rid of those old fears that are no longer serving you. And, you might have to make some decisions and take some decisive action in order to sort of get the full benefit out of this cycle and what it can bring you. But it's really important to decide whether the experiences that you're moving through are limiting you or setting you free. And I would say you now have the green light. You've always had it, but now you're being pushed in that direction to move towards what's setting you free. And that's only going to be found in the present moment. So laugh more, don't take things so seriously, and enjoy the present moment. Life path number 8, you all are going to be working with the 16-7 for this cycle. You guys have kind of had this energy on and off, I think, over the last year or so. This is defining transformative energy. So there's likely going to be something over the next, or several things over the course of the next 13 weeks that really brings in some kind of defining moment that is going to require you to either step up and prove yourself or show what you have to offer or step into the spotlight or whatever, or close it out and change direction. And so there could be some kind of relationship or career or something that it's kind of like a make it or break it kind of energy where it's saying, all right, this is, you have to decide. Are you going to say yes to this and go all in and put yourself out there and, make a splash? Or are you going to say, nope, this isn't for me anymore. I'm closing this chapter out. I'm moving in a new direction and quite literally starting over to some degree. And there's no right or wrong answer here. It's more about like you really coming to grips with what it is that you want, what it is that your soul wants, the direction your soul wants you to move towards. So there might be something that you've been investing your time and energy in relentlessly and not seeing the results, not seeing things coming to fruition. And this energy, if you're being asked to move away from whatever this is, whether again it's a relationship, a creative project, career, or something like that, you will probably hit a point over the next 13 weeks where it's a breaking point and it becomes very clear that this is no longer for you. You see what I'm saying? So you'll probably still second guess yourself. That's just the nature of the 8. But you'll have that clarity to where it's like, you know what? Why am I still investing my time and resources and energy into this when I'm simply now doing it because I feel obligated at this point? So there will be that defining moment where you clearly know the direction to take. So it's not like I want this so bad and now I'm going to have to give up on it. You might still want it pretty badly, but I think you'll see very clearly that it's no longer for you and there's something better waiting down the road. And so you'll have to make that decision to shift gears, to move in a different direction. It can feel very I don't want to say abrupt or extreme. I feel like you probably knew this was coming, like this pivotal point was coming, or this time for decisiveness was coming in whatever this is. So you will likely hit that point. And, though it might be a little jarring when you're in it, once you make that decision, whatever that decision is, to keep going all in, or if it's to shift, close that out completely and shift gears and move in a different direction, that point of pivot will probably be a little bit difficult for some. For some, it might feel like a relief, but for some, it might be a little bit challenging. There might be some grief that you have to move through. And I say honor that, but don't stall. Move forward. Find your next path. There's a path and a doorway waiting for you to go through it. So, and it will present. So big energy here, but there's definitely something where it's like a make or break it type of energy. And just keep in mind, if it's a break it kind of energy, then it's no longer serving you or all involved. And so there's something better waiting for you, and something better waiting for, if it's a relationship, the other person on their journey. So, it's going to serve a greater purpose. So move through it the best that you can, but it does feel like a very defining moment in your life where a big decision needs to be made, and either fully commit, move forward, or close that chapter out and move on to the next book. Life path number 9. So not to cut your reading too short here, but you all are working with the vibration of the 17-8. So pretty much everything I said at the beginning, at the intro, pertains to you for this cycle. So beautiful energy. This is like wishes coming true. This is that everything I talked about asking yourself the questions, and then, seeking the answer with open-mindedness and curiosity, allowing things to present to you, figuring out when to take action and when to be receptive. All the answers are available to you now over the course of the next 13 weeks. You just got to, be looking in the right place and asking the right questions, and don't be afraid of that. And so this is the time to be curious, to explore, to try new things, but not force it, right? Like if you feel called to try something new or explore something, or take a chance, or take a leap of faith, then this is a beautiful supportive time to do that. But not if it feels forced, not if you're trying to push or manipulate or control the situation or the dynamic, then it's not going to feel good. This is definitely a time to feel into whether it's a time for moving forward or resting, taking action or receiving, right? Definitely a time for greater revelations at this time. So, when we move through a 17-8 cycle, we have to put in the effort, we have to show up, we have to make it happen. But the rewards can be so gratifying, so substantial from that effort. And so pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to your visions that come in for you now, because there's likely going to be something behind those that you can build on, that you can move towards, and you will likely see the doors open in a beautiful way to help you and assist you to make it happen. It's kind of like that saying where it's like, once you decide, then the universe conspires and trips over itself to make it happen. This is that kind of energy. You are so divinely supported at this time to achieve your greater dreams and your greater goals, especially as a 9, if they serve something greater than just self. So you could see some very significant things come in at this time, especially business-wise, career-wise, financially, that can really catapult you and set you up to be able to achieve some of your greatest desires. Now, remember, some things could come in very quietly and very subtly. It doesn't have to be loud and explosive. So don't miss it, right? There's got to be that balance over the next 13 weeks of knowing when to take action, knowing when to push forward, and knowing when to sit in the stillness to receive. And within that stillness, and part of that receiving, is also those divine messages that could come in for you. The inspirations, the ideas, the goals could come in through the stillness, through the silence. So give yourself ample time for that downtime, for that stillness, to allow the messages to come through. I would recommend for you all nines to, if you did not listen to the intro, to go back and listen to the intro, because you're working with the same exact energy that we're working with collectively. So it absolutely pertains to you. Okay, 11-2. So you all are going to be working with the vibration of the 19-1 for this cycle. And the 19-1 is a karmic energy. And really all that means when it comes through in a cycle is that things could require a little bit more effort than normal. And so where you could see this kind of come into play is especially around new beginnings. So there could be some new beginnings that come your way, and this can show up in however it needs to within your own experience. But those new beginnings might require some effort from you. So in other words, it might be like, okay, you get a job offer in another state. So you have to, maybe sell your house and pack everything up and do the move and moved to a new community type thing, right? So there's a lot of effort involved there to make that new beginning happen. Or like if you want to swap apartments or something like that, maybe you have to find the person to sublet or to swap it out or whatever, and fill out the paperwork and all that stuff. So it might just be like opportunities for new beginnings, but those new beginnings could require significant effort, right? Because it is a karmic energy, but you will see the rewards of it. So it's worth taking the risk, taking the leap of faith, taking action. This is definitely not an idle energy. This is an energy of finding your courage and your faith in yourself to take the leap of faith, to take action, to go after it, whatever it may be. Because there are many rewards waiting after the obstacles that might present. So in other words, after all that effort, you will see the rewards for that effort, and it'll be in direct proportion. This is a love vibration. So for some of you, you could see new beginnings at this time. They could be relationships, though, that require effort. It might not be that kind of relationship where things are lovey-dovey, super flowy right from the beginning. It might take, maybe it gets off to a little bit of a rough start, but then it really comes together and flows beautifully. And it doesn't just have to be romantic. It can be any kind of relationship, but it is a love vibration. So there's definitely love in the air over the next 13 weeks for you all. But you might have to put in the effort to meet the people. It might be, putting yourself out there, going online, or, you starting the conversation with someone or whatever it may be. So however that presents for you. But it is ultimately a beautiful energy, but it is going to require you to put in the effort, show up, and take the risk and take the leap of faith. So it can be very, very beautiful, but you're going to have to kind of work for it. Okay, 22-4s, I'm here for this energy. We're going to be working with the vibration of the 33, so that's 303. This is such beautiful energy, and this is even more so beautiful because it's happening for 22-4s who are used to having to put in a lot of effort and not see that instant gratification. The 33 brings in projects being completed, reaching their fullest expression, seeing the rewards of work, the efforts that you've put forth and work well done, things coming in abundance at this time. You could see people presenting at this time and giving you the green light, being supportive, wanting to work with you, wanting to collaborate, almost like, your biggest hopes and dreams coming true as if by magic. But as we know, as 22-4s, it required a lot of effort, and we've built whatever this is, that we're now seeing the rewards for. But this is definitely a time for reaping what we have sown, which can be wonderful for 22-4s. This is also very much focused on home and domestic relationships. So romance could be in the wind for you at this time. Love could be blossoming. Marriage could bring happiness and fulfillment if you get married at this time or sign some kind of commitment contract, whatever that might look like for you. This can also be a really creative time. So wonderful time to start creative projects, to collaborate, to connect with others on a bigger collaborative project, creative project. Get those creative juices flowing, find your outlet, and then use that outlet. Can be very, really, really beautiful. A lot of joy, a lot of harmony, a lot of reasons for celebration can come under this vibration. And plus, love and romance is in the air. So, you get the whole shebang with this energy over the next 13 weeks. So I hope it's a beautiful one for y'all. 33.6 says, you all are going to be working with the really beautiful energy of the 41.5 for this cycle. So this is about love. This is about abundance. This is also about some change coming in. Also, it could be a change of perspective. So, this could be a time where you recognize something that you already have in your life that maybe you were undervaluing or you weren't appreciating. And this cycle brings it to your attention all that you have to be grateful for. Like, I know is how cheesy that sounds, but really, truly, you could find a lot of joy and contentment sort of with what you already have. So it's kind of like getting a fresh set of eyes or a new lease on life when it comes to, again, things you already have. So recognizing that, you're in good health and, that you don't have to struggle with health ailments, right? So maybe celebrating that, or maybe you have the means to travel and you have an opportunity to travel during this time and you get a lot of joy and fulfillment out of that. But there's there's not a lot of forcing with this cycle. There's not a lot of pushing and and really trying in earnest to achieve. It's really about recognizing what fills up your life now and then really expanding upon that, putting your energy there and recognizing the abundance that you already have in your life. And the way it usually works is when we have gratitude for what we have, and really feel that gratitude and really focus on the things that bring us joy and fulfillment, we tend to call in more of that and more tends to come in. So this is definitely a time where you could, kind of almost get a new lease on life and find that happiness from within, radiate that happiness, that confidence, and just enjoy the beauty and the pleasure that surrounds you and feel good about yourself and truly and authentically, and that will shine through. This is also a really creative period, so you might find some creative outlets now that really, again, light you up and that connect you with people who light you up. And this is a love vibration ultimately. So, the love of your life might appear at this time, through some, you doing some kind of creative project. Maybe that's how you meet this person. Or if you're already in a relationship, you could take it to the next level. Or again, recognize things about that relationship that you just absolutely love and adore and celebrate that and then expand upon it. So really beautiful energies here overall. But it is this time to come back to the present and focus on what you want to grow, what you want to expand upon, what you want to see more of, and not be so focused on what isn't working, what went wrong, all those things. Focus more on the positive. And this isn't about toxic positivity. It's just, shift your perspective. And I think you'll see a lot of beauty come out of this cycle over the next 13 weeks. Life Path 44.8. So you all are going to be working with the vibration of the 52.7 during this cycle. And this is an interesting energy. At the core of this is the 7, right? So there is a lot about going within, really going deep. This could be a great cycle for the next 13 weeks of healing something, really getting to the core and root of the cause of an issue or something that you're struggling with. Excellent time for therapy, for getting the support that you need in order to kind of go in deep and get to the root of it, clean it up, clear it out type of thing. But there is definitely a call for greater, I don't want to say solitude, but the need to kind of, self-care, self-soothe, take time for yourself, really go within. This is a beautiful time for self-discovery and greater self-reflection that can really help you to get to the truth of who you are authentically, truly, and what it is that you want. And what it is that you desire. And then once you get to that core truth, right, which is an evolution, right? This is an ongoing thing, an ongoing journey with all of us. But when we move through a 7 cycle, it can really push us inwards to really connect more deeply with ourselves. It's not so much about what's happening externally, it's about what's happening internally. And so this is a beautiful time to take that deep dive and to give yourself ample time to do that. And so, submerge yourself in nature, journal, do things that bring you back to your, feeling connected to yourself, to your soul. And you could also see over the course of the next 13 weeks, opportunities to trust yourself, and not only trust yourself, but trust others and trust the universe, and not second guess yourself. Like when you make a decision, trust yourself and give yourself the benefit of the doubt that you know what you're doing, that you'll be able to handle the consequences of those decisions, just as you've always done. And continue to kind of flex that muscle, because that will help to connect you with your inner self, your intuition, so that when you have to make decisions in the future that will help to move you towards what it is that you truly want, you'll be able to follow that intuition and not second guess yourself. And you'll be able to move in the direction and on the path that feels the most aligned for you. So really beautiful energy here for you 44s. But what I would definitely say is, don't burn the candle at both ends. Don't overexert yourself. Don't overcommit. Don't overburden yourself during the next 13 weeks. Really give yourself ample time for that, meditation, breath work, time alone, therapy, whatever it is that gives you the space to reconnect to you, to come back home to you, and to discover what's next for you, because that's going to help you decide what your next steps are. Really beautiful energy here. But you've got to give yourself permission to take that deep dive. And I will say that a lot of really big life-changing answers can come in to those really big life-changing questions that you might ask. But you've got to be still and open and receive the answers. And in order to do that, you're going to have to come back to yourself and take some time for yourself.